Hi, welcome to Bio 110. I hope you're really excited. My name is Mrs. Larson. I am the lead instructor for Bio 110. So you might be seeing me even if I'm not your designated instructor. But that being said, if you have any questions, you can always email me, but you should email your instructor first. Usually we are all using the same template for Bio 110, and so you're going to see me in a lot of the videos giving you information. So if you have questions, again, let me know. But we are going to start in on talking through some of the basics of navigating our course in an online setting. So one of the things that you'll notice is that if you're in Canvas and you go to the home button, you're going to see a welcome announcement. I do suggest checking those regular announcements all the time. So announcements is going to be where your instructor will share any information that's of importance to you, things that are coming up, reminders about assignments, information about labs, whatever it may be. So do keep a track on that. And then hopefully you've looked over the syllabus and you've seen the assignment schedule and the lab schedule, as well as the syllabus itself. After that, okay, and actually really quick, let me open this. So if you haven't looked in, by all means, click into anything and everything. If you're in my online course, for instance, you'll see this lecture assignments document where if you go in, you can print this out. It's a checklist and it shows you what the due date is. So you'll see all of those like dates and that'll help you keep on track. I have that for both lecture and lab. But let's go into the modules and have a look at what you'll see if you're coming into Canvas. So you've all at this point completed your entry verification. Good job, congratulations. You'll see some information about student support services, Pell Grant verification, and then you'll see some course information. So if you're curious about any particular portion of the syllabus, one, you should look at the whole thing, but you're like, oh man, let me make sure I have the right textbook information. Go ahead and click in there. Hopefully you've gone to the bookstore and picked up your voucher for your lab kit and gone ahead and ordered that through Carolina Biological. If you haven't, make sure you do that as soon as possible. Not picking that up in the first 2 weeks of class could result in withdrawal from the course since you do need the lab kit. If you have questions about that, I have more information on that later. So a couple of things here. You should work your way through the Welcome to Bio 110 section. You're going to have this navigation video, the one you're watching now, time requirements, lab navigation from Carolina Biological Labs. It's fantastic. It's useful. You need to take the syllabus quiz and the beginning of course assessment. And then here is your ebook. You'll be able to then see Unit 1. Unit 1 has 4 chapters, so we'll talk about that in just a second. But let's come back to this Welcome to Bio 110. A couple of things that I want to make clear for everybody. Time requirements for Bio 110 online is the same as if you were in a seated class. Because this is a science course, it does have 6 contact hours per week, which means that you would be in lecture for 3 hours a week and lab for 3 hours a week. You do need to plan accordingly. Lecture and lab requirements for the course will take you the required 6 hours a week, plus time for studying, reading the lab manual, reading the textbook, doing some of those homework problems, that sort of thing. So do plan accordingly. You're expected to spend an additional 12 to 16 hours a week outside of the contact hours on any course that you are taking. So for Bio 110, you're going to be spending probably about 18 hours a week on the course, learning the material, doing the labs, doing the homework, watching the lectures, reading the book, the whole shebang. Any past student I've had, seated or online, has always said, do not wait to do the work. Stay on top of your work and you'll be fine. Plan your semester accordingly. Print out those documents that I gave you. Plan ahead. Do that whole thing. Do not take this class lightly. This is not a one discussion board a week class. You will have work due at minimum 3 days a week, and that will require you to do some work in preparation in advance for that. Couple of things. Let's not click into this video here. Let's go back here. Okay. One of the things I want to point out that's going to help you is, again, this video that you're watching now. You're going to take the syllabus quiz, and then we're going to do this beginning of course assessment quiz. In order to take this, you need to download the Respondus Lockdown browser. So this course does require a lockdown browser with a webcam and screen recording for you to take exams. Now, attendance quizzes usually don't require that, but this is kind of a two birds with one stone situation. I want you to take this. This is your, hi, I'm here. This is what I know about biology. I do not expect you to do incredibly well. It's a 20-point multiple choice quiz. That's not your normal tests, but I want to see what you know going into the course. And if you feel like you don't know it, that's great, because guess what you're going to learn this semester? The stuff on this beginning of course assessment. So we're going to see how much you learn and how much you grow, because you're going to retake the assessment later, or similar assessment later in the semester. At the end of the semester, actually. But that's going to let you test that lockdown browser to make sure that that is functional and get you used to that setup. You do need to have it with a webcam. If you cannot do that, you will have to come and take your test on campus at the testing center. So do plan accordingly for that. Here is your textbook. You have the Essentials of Biology is built into your course, so you don't have to buy a manual textbook, a physical textbook if you don't want to. You have it in here. And what you'll see is it's actually a fantastic book. It's a really great tool. My students picked it. I gave them all of the options I was thinking about, and this is the one that students decided was the best. It's fantastic. It's got a lot of really cool information. It's easy to navigate. You can go in and click on, oh, I want to go look at the characteristics of life. Oh, let me look at this figure. It's wonderful. I wish I had textbooks like this when I was in school. So do familiarize yourself with that. It is a fantastic book. You should use it as an additional tool to learn the materials. Once you've completed your kind of introduction to the course here, let's talk about how to navigate the class as it stands. So you will be taking your course in 6 units. There are 6 units in this class. There are about 20 chapters, I think 23 chapters, something like that through the course of the semester. Each unit is 3 to 4 chapters. This allows us to do our exams in bite-sized chunks, and then you'll have a cumulative final that will build all those chunks together into one big full biology smorgasbord meal. So when you come in, you'll see chapter 1, the science of life. Great. There is this thing called a pre-lecture extra credit. This is not a requirement, but it is a very useful resource. I have my students do this. It's a short video, usually from the Amoeba Sisters. If you aren't familiar with the Amoeba Sisters, you will be. They're fantastic, with a question that you answer. It preps you for the chapter 1 lecture material. So this one introduces the characteristics of life, and then in chapter 1, we talk about the characteristics of life. In each chapter, you'll find the chapter 1 lecture materials, the learning outcomes. So if you're asking me, what should I study? What do I need to know? I use these questions to build your exams. Okay, I have these built out as questions within the PowerPoints themselves, as well as check your understanding questions. So you should be able to answer those. And my answers for those questions are in the notes section of that PowerPoint, which you do have access to at the end of your lecture materials. You'll see chapter 1, the science of life ADA PowerPoint. This means that it is accessible to everyone, and you can go in and click in there. You'll also find a lecture video with yours truly going through the lecture PowerPoint itself with a lot of additional information. So for this first chapter 1, you're going to maybe spend 45 minutes on the lecture materials. That's not that bad, because if in a seated class 2 days a week, you would meet for an hour and 15 minutes. You also need to complete the attendance quiz. Attendance quizzes are how attendance is taken. Go figure. You have unlimited attempts on them. You can have it open while you have the lecture open. You can be taking your notes and use your notes on the attendance quiz. These quizzes are meant to just kind of test what you've learned watching that lecture video. You will do better and you will learn more if you watch the video and take the attendance quiz. Don't just try to skip through and not do the video. Okay, that is going to lead you into, those are the requirements for the lecture materials. And then you have homework for every chapter, okay? Your homework is called knowledge checks or relevancy modules, and it's through Connect as well. It's built into the course. So when you click on your chapter 1 knowledge check, it will take you out here. and it will show you the student view, which I'm going to show you now. And then you can go in and take this and work on it however much you want. You have 2 attempts per assignment, so you do it once through. If you miss some questions, study up on that material and then do it again. Your assignments are meant to help you build that material into your brains, okay? In addition, the way that due dates work, okay, the way that due dates work for this class, for these knowledge check and relevancy modules, you have, or you should do them the day that you do the lecture material. So if you do chapter 1, you should do that chapter 1 homework. It's kind of bundled into that hour and 15 minutes or hour and 30 minutes that I would expect you to spend on the class. Now, if you can't get to it that day, you have until the last day of the unit to complete it without penalty. If you do not submit the knowledge checks or relevancy modules for each chapter, the lecture day before the exam, so if your exam is on Wednesday, the Monday, that is the last day of the lecture, will be your final due date. If that is not submitted at that point, it is a 0 in the gradebook and there is no makeup for those assignments, okay? I strongly suggest just doing it all in one go. Sit yourself down, say, I have an hour and a half, I have 2 hours to work on biology lecture today because that's what's due today. Go through the materials, learn the stuff, read the book, you'll be great. Okay, if you run into something though, I know a lot of us have kids, jobs, other things going on. Make sure that you set aside time to go and do your homework so that you can get that done and submitted by the last day of the chapter. In addition, you will also find in the additional resources some of these videos, again, from the Amoeba Sisters, review videos from past semesters. You'll find smart books, which are not required assignments, but are really, really fantastic study tools. And then when the exam is available, you will see the Unit 1 exam. You will not be able to open the next unit until you submit for that Unit 1 exam. And again, exams, all the due dates are posted in advance. There is no excuse to miss an exam. That is your attendance assignment for that day. Missing an exam does not mean it will be made up. You need to contact me prior to that exam. All things are due the day of at 11:59 p.m. So that is all of our lecture materials, okay? Last but not least, I want to get into our lab materials here. So the first thing I'm going to ask that you do is go to the bookstore and get your voucher and go into, if you click on the lab safety contract as a student and then click on load lab 1, it will open out and it will kind of prompt you to put your lab code in. See where it says redeem code? You will put in your voucher, that redeem code. You've paid for it as part of your signing up for the class. So you go to the bookstore, you get a voucher, it's a piece of paper, it'll have a voucher on it, and then you're going to go in and redeem your code. Before you even do that though, you can send me a picture of the voucher, okay? You should go in and redeem your code and then send me a picture, a screenshot of your redemption certification, like confirmation information. Carolina Biological will send the lab kit directly to your house. It usually ships like next day. So if you put it in like today, it should ship out tomorrow or the next day. And then you will get it really quickly because Carolina Biological is located here in North Carolina. Usually when they ship things out, it's like 2 days delivery. It's fantastic. So that is the very first thing that you're going to do in order to show me that you are ready to do labs. Once you've done that, I want you to go in and do an introduction discussion board. I want you to look through the student guide. I want you to watch that video on how to do your labs. And then I do want you to start clicking around in some of this. You won't see everything right off the bat. I should load that. Okay. The lab safety contract doesn't have an additional assignment to upload because by going in, reading through and agreeing to that, that is your homework for that day. But when you do your second lab, your lab for week 2, you're going to see Introduction to Graphing Lab Notebook Submission. If you click on that, you'll see in there what are the required activities. That is also in your syllabus page on the lab schedule. I have labs on Thursdays for my class. So you'll see again, here is what you are required to do for the labs for that week. So the due date of the 8th is for your introduction discussion board, proof of lab kit pickup, and lab safety contract being signed, which is all getting you set up to do the next week's lab. Next week, lab week 2, I want you to do an inventory of your lab kit. Make sure that all of the materials you need are there. If they're not, contact Carolina so they can send you the lab materials. And then the third week, we actually use our lab kit, which is why you need to have your lab kit picked up. We do the lab kit inventory week 2. We use the lab kit week 3. Failure to do these labs because you don't have the lab kit will result in a withdrawal from the class because you need to have that lab kit to effectively do the course. So again, I have that as a checklist for you. You can go in and print that out and check it off as you go. In addition, you'll see those on the calendar with the due dates once I get them all built out. This is still early building out this course right now. You'll see that for all of our labs through the semester. I know it looks like a lot, but we do a lab a week. Sometimes there are 2 lab workbooks in a week because some of the labs only take about 30 minutes and you're supposed to spend 3 hours on lab a week. So you can see where that time comes in. We're going to have some additional extension assignments as well. So you'll see some extension activities. You'll see some discussion boards. It's going to be really fun. The labs are really fun. If you come into this course, and this was something that students told me over and over and over again, with an open mind and excited to learn and just be curious about the world around you, you're going to do really well. Make sure that you do stay on top of your work. The students who are most successful in my class are the ones who have their schedule built out at the beginning of the semester and plan ahead and give themselves wiggle room to, if something comes up, get their assignments done the next day. And also are the ones who email me whenever something comes up and they have a question. Don't hesitate to reach out to your instructors. We are here to help you. And if you let us know what's going on, we can facilitate that. But if you just dip and don't do your assignments, there's not a whole lot I can do to help you there because you know my expectations. You know that you're supposed to do your work and turn it in. It is your responsibility as a student to do the work. It is my responsibility as your instructor to teach you and to help you with your education. I know that was a lot in a very short video, a relatively short video. Thank you for watching. If you have any particular questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or your instructor, and have a great day. Also, one last note, you can't break anything in Canvas, so click around, dig into everything. Don't be like, I didn't know where to click, I didn't know what to do. Click around. You can't break anything. If you get into something and something gets snarled up, I promise I can fix it. So please don't hesitate to click around into any of that stuff there. Thanks.